you guys.
And
I came home.
Oh, my gosh.
and Cyd is here as well.
Oh, sorry. Hey, you guys. I came home last night and I saw this amazing video that Melissa made about Cyd. And since we talked about Cyd last week and how amazing she is, I was like, wait a minute. I don't have a soulmate question, but I have a question. I'm calling.
Oh, look, definitely. Well, look, definitely, Leanne, stay there in the queue and we'll bring Cyd in. I haven't even introduced her yet, so give me a second.
Oh, my.
Yeah, we haven't told the listeners that they can call in yet. So,
Yeah, you've done well. You've done well. No, I did. I confess I did. When I put it out via social media, I did say take priority by all means. And obviously Leanne's jumped on that.
Yes. And the awesome thing is our guest has turned up. So let's introduce her.
Well, okay. So today we have the fabulous Cyd. Now, I know that she's incredibly popular and she's back by popular demand. She was on the show, a little while ago, a couple of months ago. Cyd is an extraordinary, spiritual communicator is where I'll start with what sort of communicator she is. Now, those of you that know me and have looked me up or have seen me speak or, all that stuff around the world, read books, blah, blah, you know that I deal with my work crosses enormously between the science and the spiritual. And as we mentioned when Cyd came on the show the first time, I have had an enormous amount of spiritual communicators of all sorts, psychic, clairvoyant, clair any of it, clair all of it, calling in wanting to be on the show. The one thing, if I give one endorsement to Cyd, it's that the fact that she has an extraordinarily authentic vibration. She's one of the most authentic gifts I've seen in this form of communication, and that's come across in the work that Cyd has done across the globe. But Cyd also gets called in by organisations like the FBI and the CIA to actually assist with cases. So this is someone that has a proven record in the accuracy of what she not necessarily predicts, but can communicate. So what we've done today with Cyd coming in today, because it's our second visit with us and because she is by popular demand, we've invited her back. We're opening up the phone lines for the entire of the show so that you can call in and ask your questions. And now, topics we want to avoid. Let's entirely avoid elections.
Oh, yes. Do you mean just for this call or forever? Because I'm going forever here.
That's right. Let's entirely avoid politics because really I'm so sure that you guys, particularly in the States, but let's face it, the world is a small place now and we're all tired of the US election. And although I did like Harrison Ford's latest thing of just don't vote for anyone. But yeah, you can call in regarding any questions that you have about your life, your desires, what you're trying to bring in, your purpose, whatever you would like to ask Cyd. And she generously has offered to do this. I'm not putting her on the spot at all. It was her idea.
Can I give out the numbers so people can start calling in?
Go for it, Moms.
It is in North America. It's 347-688-2902.
All right. So without further ado, the beautiful Cyd, if I may introduce you.
Thank you so much again for letting me come on the show. You guys are so wonderful. I was just so excited, Melissa, when we were emailing this last week. I'm just like, yeah, I'd love to be on again. This would be fantastic. And you all are so gracious and so spiritually connected and wonderful, wonderful sound individuals yourself, and the work that you guys are doing out there and your contribution and your purpose. You guys shine so well. And it's just an honor to be able to be here today and to work with you and to be able to help people on their journey. One of the things that I'm so take a stand for, I stand for this for myself and for others, is that when we stay connected to Source, when we find that peace within of ourself, when we find that, or we journey towards it, or we're excited about it, or we're questioning, and we seek and we seek and we seek, all of a sudden we find who we really are. And when we come back to what we've always known ourselves to be and what we've always been, and we take not advantage of it, but we take liberty to let it shine, we take the opportunity to bring it forth out into the world, then all of a sudden we have purpose, we have grace, we have permission, we have, a willingness to share. So all those people out there, if you're searching for your answers for your life, I could tell you all those things, and I'm happy to do so today. That's why we're here, is to be able to assist you in your journey in your life. But also something that if when I speak to you, you'll recognize a vibration inside of yourself that's truth. Okay, so thank you. As you introduce me, it is communication. It's about communicating from the universal source to your soul. And when we speak the truth to your soul, no matter how difficult or how beautiful or how wonderful or amazing it is, that truth resonates inside of us. And our body's calm. Okay? So today, as I work with you people as individuals and stuff like that, you should come out with a sense of, first, calmness, because your body will center and it will calm to its truth. And then all of a sudden new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of thinking for yourself, new belief systems, new ways of being, all of a sudden will start happening. So you'll get excited. But first, it's the calm state. And a lot of people don't understand that calm state and they're afraid of it. But when our body goes silent and it just centers and calms with a sense of ease, and to be honest with you, it's a sense of peace. When we're connected in the universal flow of things, our bodies become at peace. And so we don't fear our world. We don't fear the external circumstances. We don't fear anything at all. But we have to remain in that peaceful state. Okay? That doesn't mean we don't want to grow. We don't want to live. We don't want to build. We do. Of course we do. We're hungry to journey on this life and to give the most that we can possibly give. Some people are stuck in really hard situations. And so the hard situations are there for a reason. And those hard situations bring us to a place of recognizing what's really of us. Okay? And a lot of people go through horrific events. We've spoke about that before. And in those situations, something peaceful and something beautiful always rises. Some people are wanting their careers, they're wanting babies, they're wanting relationships. They're lost. Sometimes we get lost. Sometimes we get stuck. Sometimes we just are in the flow, that synchronistic flow. And synchronicity is a wonderful tool that the universe brings us. A lot of people, how many of you guys have reached deja vu? You have a deja vu moment. And in that deja vu moment, I've always looked at it ever since I was a child that, that's God telling me I'm in the right place at the right time because I'm remembering exactly what I've done before, even though I haven't done it.
Well, I think that's the message of it, is it? I think that was always the message. Well, I've always been taught that that's what it was too. It was confirmation that you're on the right path.
On the right path.
When you have deja vu, it means you're on the right path. So, it means you're caught in the Matrix. It depends which movie you've watched.
Right.
Yes, beware the black cat.
And,
yes.
We call that the blue, and it's funny when people say something comes from out of the blue. I don't know if anybody realizes this or understands it, but we have 7 dimensions in the universe, okay, in different rays, and one of them is the blue. And it's about pure creation. And if we can come to a place of being in the blue, just literally the color blue, like the sky. When you can go there and manifest and create anything that you could possibly imagine or want, it shows up sooner or later in your life. So when people say, I met this person out of the blue, or out of the blue, a car was there and I had to slam on my brakes and I was fine because I didn't get in a car accident. So things come from out of the blue. It's unexpected. But it's where your soul resides in a place of creation. So when we're on our journey, we talk about, being in deja vu of what we're doing, but recognize also that our soul travels to these different dimensions all the time. We're always working in them other than just being on the physical human plane. Okay? So when we have something wonderful that comes from out of the blue, you created it. Somewhere inside of your soul, somewhere inside of your creative beingness, you created it. So look for things from out of the blue. Take time to go up into the blue and just manifest anything that is magnificent for you. You know, we're co-creators. You know, people talk about co-creation, and co-creators means that the universe and God, the God source, is working with you. Angels are working with you. Your guides are working with you. And at the same time, we have to work too. So it isn't about God saying, you know, I'm punishing you or I'm giving you this or anything else. You karmically contracted it. You wrote it. So my job is to be able to look at what you wrote, what you've written, what you created, and look at the opportunities that are coming to you and to guide you on the easier journey. Sometimes I have to guide you to the hardest journey. The harder journeys become the best sometimes too. Yeah. So a lot of people think that life should be effortless and easy, and I agree. You know, I would love to have an effortless and easy life. But that comes with a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom and a lot of peace inside of yourself, that the circumstances you recognize are the truth. They're teaching you something, and you're willing to go through it. You're willing to be in that hardship. You're willing to do the work. You're willing to love fully. You know, we talk about love, you know, and my guides are just saying, you know, Cyd, speak about love in relationships because it's so important. Love means different things to different people. Okay, so all you people that are out there seeking relationships, you know, we seek people that want to love us unconditionally. Okay, everybody wants the unconditional love. And that's the most silly word I've ever heard in my entire life. Unconditional love means that you've placed a condition upon yourself and the other person. Okay, so recognize you've placed a condition somewhere saying, you need to love me unconditionally. Okay?
Right.
So I look at love and I'm like, just love. Just love the most that you can love. And those people that want relationships, you should be looking at yourself and saying, how much can I love? How much do I have to give? How much more can I love? You know,
Yeah,
and
being
true to that. Yeah.
It is about giving. It's, yeah, I love that. I think you said that I agree with you completely. When people say they want it unconditionally, they've immediately put a massive condition on it.
Massive. You have to accept every single solitary thing I do.
Well, when I tend to refer to, when we talk about Valentine's Day, you know, I often speak about the ridiculous obligatory obligation that is love these days. That, you know, Valentine's Day on Hallmark would have us believe love is, where we're obligated to buy gifts and spend money, and because that proves love. And anything caught under obligation ultimately leads to resentment. It's not the sort of love that you want.
No.
Give up the dozen roses and actually just give of yourself, and you'll be surprised what comes back.
And it takes accountability for yourself.
Yeah,
you have to
that's
take responsibility and accountability for who you're showing up to be in the relationship. Not how somebody else is showing up in a relationship, how you expect them to be for you. It's about saying, I am going to love to my fullest. To my friends, to my lover, to my husband, to my wife, to my significant other, to my children, to my God and my universe, and the people on the street that I don't even know. And when we take ownership of that, it isn't what we want. It's not saying, what are you going to give to me? It's, how am I going to be for others? How am I going to be for myself too? Because if anybody loves you the most that anybody could ever love themselves, it's you. And a lot of people fail, and I have to use the word fail, to recognize their greatest love is themselves and the universe, themselves and God. Okay, so if you're looking for divine true love, look at yourself. Love yourself deeply, not egotistically, but unconditionally. You know, I talk about the unconditional. If you can forgive yourself for every wrongdoing or every being that you haven't become yet, you find love and you find compassion. And you find that compassion can be for yourself as well. A lot of people are out there givers. We look at you guys on the show today, and you are endless givers, constant giving and giving, and so you should. But at the same time, we have so much compassion for the person on the street, or a child that's sick, or somebody that, is an addict, or God only knows what circumstances they're in. Some of our military men that come back, of all worlds, that have been maimed, people that are starving, all kinds of soul compassion, empathy for people. And you can't forgive yourself for the same thing that you said wrong to your friend the other day. You have to be able to have the same love and compassion for yourself. And when we do, then we also can change what we've done. We can also take responsibility and say, I will be better with my friend next time. I will help that person next time. I will give more today. I will hold myself accountable and responsible. So when we talk with all you individuals out there today, part of what we do isn't just communication and information to help you, but it's also to show you your responsibility here for your life and how you're going to help and serve others. Or are you just going to be completely selfish? I don't know. We can find many. but the individuals I'm sure that are listening to the show today, you guys are the compassionate ones. You guys are the purpose ones. You want to learn, you want to grow, you want to give. So all of our jobs, all of our work here today is about allowing your experience, what you're going through with your circumstances, for us to give you information. It's not only about me giving information to you, but each and every one of the hosts today, they have miraculous, wonderful insight. They're very old souls. So we have to invite them to be able to give us their take on it as well. So your calls, very welcome. However we can assist you today, we're happy to do so.
That's not putting you under pressure, Mont. But
no, I just feel when you say old soul, it's like, yep, I'm tired.
I'm just going to interrupt everything a little bit, because as much as I've just said to everyone that Shay won't be joining us from Africa, she's actually managed to call in. So if we suddenly hear that troops have stormed the hotel because Shay's called in.
She attempted to call in and then she dropped. So let's.
Oh no, we've lost her again. Okay, she's trying to call in from Africa, so we may hear from our beautiful Shay.
Let's praise the goddess of Skype, Connectivius, and we'll. I do apologize, everyone. It just seems to be going a bit weird at the moment. So let's see if we can try that again. There we go. I don't know. I got a phone call. I said no, and then I hung up. I don't know what's going on. I do apologize. So, yay.
It's all good. It's all good.
So we should be back on air again. Sorry about that.
We are back on air? Okay, hi everyone. Don't you love it when Skype reboots its server and we all fall apart? Goodness me.
I was praising Skype and then that happened. So, okay, I'll shut up.
Well, he was requesting, so Skype got us. And so she's like, here I am.
Well, we did have Shay for a moment. I'm not too sure where Shay has gone, and we've lost Leanne too. So if they could please come back in on the call, that'd be fantastic. We did have Shay for a moment from Africa, and remarkably clear line from there, which was fantastic.
I've added them to the call, so hopefully they can join us. So I have no idea what. Let's move on.
So wonderful, Cyd. Before we continue with the calls coming in, I'm just going to remind everyone that if you want to call in on Skype, the username on Skype is Freedom Screen. So it's Freedom SCREEN, N for November. Don't scream, screen. So, Freedom Screen. The phone number, if you're in the US or if you want to spend the money and call from anywhere else into the US, is 347-688-2902. Please feel free to call in with your questions for Cyd. Now, if you're listening, of course, you're online. So look up Cyd as well. Her website is Cyd's Circle. So SYDS circle.com.
And no, actually, it's It's actually CYDS.
Oh, did I misspell it? Oh, God, good on me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
CYDS. I'm sorry. Well, let's blame that on the Australian accent. But yeah, Cyd Circle, CYDS circle.com. And there's fabulous information on there and all sorts of level. I actually love looking at Cyd's website. Her take on what meditation does and how it achieves. And she talked earlier about the calm in the vibration of the physical biology. Something that certainly happens to us. One of the vibrations, of course, that we very much essentially exist in as a human being is in the vibration of emotion. One thing that people don't like hearing from me is that emotion is one of the lowest vibrations of what it is to be human. But it is the most essential to succeed at being human. We very much live in emotion. It's a strange concept that we've developed or perhaps been conditioned with, that we need to get over being angry and stop feeling sad and stop, what we need to actually do is manage emotion, not get out of it. Because it's essential for us to live within it. It's part of the human experience. It's part of living this life, that you have to embrace the emotion, the good and the bad, because as Cyd said earlier, it's all in balance. So trust that as bad as anything can be, and everyone that you'll hear, all the hosts, everyone that you hear that come on our show has lived an extreme life. It's, we have the incredible ups and the incredible downs, and all of us have had them. As much as we sound all light and friendly and whatever we do sound on Inspired Perspective, the bottom line is we are your hosts because we've lived a very colourful life that's given us experience enough to share with you. And so living in emotion, unfortunately, that's when your communication with spirit, with God, with universe, with source, whatever you want to refer to it, will be at its lowest. When you're in that really low, highly emotional state, your vibration's a bit of a mess. And so Cyd was talking about going to a place of calm. Calm's a lot easier to get to than you might imagine. With all the guidance, with all the guidance we've had around the world and people telling you their take on it and everyone trying to put their brand and their license and, their trademark on being calm, deep breaths is an amazing tool. Breathing, something that we're forgetting to do as humans, but breathing is an incredibly powerful tool for just leveling yourself out. And if you look on Cyd's website about meditation, she speaks about just leveling yourself into that place of calm. So communication and the decisions you're making with that communication are that much clearer. So, as I said, please do call in. Cyd is here for you to answer your questions. And I'm going to bring in, Leanne has been so patient. She was the first to jump in.
Even before we announced it.
So, Cyd, we have the beautiful Leanne on the line.
Leanne, hi.
Hi, Cyd. I've heard so many amazing and just glowing things about you and your abilities. And so
thank you.
Last night I came home and checked my Facebook, as I think these days everybody does. And Melissa had made this wonderful video, and I was like, wait, I want to talk to Cyd.
Of course.
And I hope this isn't just about love and soulmates and all of that, because I'm like, I don't really have a question about that. I've got that covered. But I do have a question about my writing and the trajectory of my memoir and its future and my future as a writer.
Sorry, my silence is I'm just listening really quick.
I'm just going to quickly interject. Cyd will pause while she's listening to the communication coming in. So don't be scared when you hear some quiet time, because that's Cyd actually bringing it all through.
That's good.
Yes. So if I'm silent for a couple seconds, it's just me attaining information for you. And, you asked the question, so, spirit has to come to me and talk to me about that because you're asking them. Okay, you're not asking me, you're asking them. So when I go silent, I'm listening. So I sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation with you, and then I'll have to stop so that I can hear them, because I can't overtalk them. They speak so much better than I can. So one of the things, I think that you've always had, this ability. We have, like Melissa says, we have different ways of communication, and writing is definitely one of yours. it's a passion. I think that you've been very drawn to this one in particular task. And in this task, I think that it's about sharing yourself. It's about sharing where you've been, who you are, and embracing a different viewpoint, like looking at a different viewpoint for you to be able to share with other people. Now, with that said, though, is that there's many alternative ways for you to communicate and alternative ways for you to write, okay? So sometimes we do something serious. Other times we have to have a playful look upon something. So what they're saying is that even in a serious situation or a serious communication, whatever that may be, bring that playful view. Bring the other view that instead of being under the table, sometimes we're on top of the table. So they're saying change your view, change your perspective sometimes in this communication. Now, also, there's many writings that will come from you, many writings, okay? So don't try to pick an individual genre or specific topic or a specific way, okay? Do you understand? Are you with me?
Maybe. If you can speak a little bit more about it, then that will help clarify.
Okay, so sometimes, okay, they're just trying to give an example. If I just label myself as a psychic, okay, as a topic, a specific topic, okay, so I have a certain topic, or Danielle Steele just does romance novel, okay?
Okay.
Somebody does sci-fi, doesn't matter, okay? So you have a specific topic. You are not to have a specific topic. You are not to have a specific way of only staying in that particular genre, okay?
Okay.
Because it's too limited for you.
Yeah.
If I pick only one religion to be, I can be religious, but that doesn't mean I can expand to other religions, okay? So in a religious state, I can speak of many religions, not necessarily just of one, okay?
Okay.
So what they're saying is that even though the work that you're doing is really, it's very, very, very well done, okay? They're pleased with it. They're like, this is good. This is really nice. We love how she's being guided, how she's writing and stuff like that. But don't be so limited. Go ahead and write the other things too that you might, sometimes we have that voice inside of our head that goes, you could do this, and you're like, but that's going to be silly, and nobody's going to want to read about that. So they're saying, listen to those whispers, okay, and take advantage of the information that you're getting, okay. So it's okay to do all of that, okay, not just the work that you're doing. As you grow, as you get older, you're going to want to bring, I guess what the word is, a garden, instead of just gardening all tomatoes, you want to bring some flowers, you want to bring some herbs, and you want to bring a repertoire of many things. It's still a garden, okay, you're still writing, but it's okay to write about different things and bringing accent to it also, okay? So don't limit yourself into just one genre, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I've got, look, while Cyd's talking, I've got some stuff coming through too, for you, Leanne, like what they want you to do, being your fellas, your team that are working with you, spiritual team. I mean, I'm not assuming any place that you live spiritually, but they want you to turn your writing into like a daily meditation where you sit down and write. Like, turn that into one of your meditations when you sit down. Now, you know that I'm actually a writer.
I didn't, but that's good.
Oh, well, I've written books and all that good stuff too. But one of the things that I'm doing at the moment, it's for me, it's a way of playing, because writing is, and I know that it is for you too. Writing is like my chosen art form. It's my creative art form. That's probably my primary art. And one of the things I'm doing at the moment, opportunities have come to me where I'm actually writing on a US-based sitcom. I'm one of the writers on that. and I'm writing for a movie at the moment. I'm actually working on the screenplay with a movie at the moment that's actually a really great suspense, twist in the tail, groovy thing. I'm loving this thing. It's quite a serious write. And for me, that's that's on the side. That's obviously not what I do primarily for a living. There are opportunities that have come to me that are just great fun. It's how I play in my art. And so, yeah, you're so good at play. You have such a beautiful child within you that loves to dance that, make sure you're playing with your writing too, that you're actually having fun with it. And your website's brilliant for that, Leanne. Bliss Bubble is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
That's actually written beautifully. It shows how good you are at what you do. And it's,
Thank you.
Yeah, blissbubble.com is Leanne's actual website. And if you want to have a look at the work that she's doing, it's fantastic. And it shows you the gift that she has to take you on that journey of play as well, where you can actually just walk bliss. But you haven't actually explained, Leanne, what exactly do you want to do with your memoirs? Like you mentioned that earlier on.
What do I want to do with it? Well, I want to get a publishing deal, a traditional publishing deal, and launch a more, it's so funny, we're talking about play, but I would say a more serious life as a committed writer. That's actually what I would love to do as a profession.
So are your memoirs a serious message? Are they?
It's both. It's what Cyd was kind of, I think going into and addressing, and that is that there's some very serious issues, topics that I address, but it's still me. So it's my desire to hopefully offer what I've learned or what I've experienced in a way that is still playful, or is still got a sense of humor to it all.
So have you actually, is the manuscript finished on that piece?
Oh, Melissa.
I think that's probably leaning towards no.
I meant that meant, well, not quite yet.
At the moment too, so.
Yeah, it's funny because if you'd asked me that 3 years ago, I would say yes, and it is on, baby, it is done. But what's happened in the course of life is when I went to write that memoir that covers a 10-year period of my life, I hadn't really learned what I needed to learn. And so it's a very, I would call it more of like a tell-all, or a surface look at that experience, that journey in my life. And it had its own life, its own, it had, I had the big agent, I had the promise of the big deal. And then what I think really happened is that God, spirit, source, however, you want to define that, came in and said, no. You have a much bigger message, but you haven't learned it yet. And so we're not going to give you that deal because,
I would love to address this with you.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. I've seen it many times in my own life and lives of others. And one, the experience that we're going through at the time is so significant, and we're aware of it. Okay. And we're going through it, and we're watching it happen to us, and we're taking note. You know how we take note of we're in the middle of this experience, and we think we know everything about it, and we're learning it in such detail to help others. And we're aware that we're learning it to help others. And then all of a sudden, because we are in touch with the universe and we are, united with them, and we know that we're supposed to do something great with the task and the information at hand. So we move on it. We direct ourselves to saying, okay, I need to write about this, and this can help people, et cetera, et cetera. So we take action upon it, about what we've been through and about what we're experiencing. Next thing you know, like you just said, that the universe or that God source says, that's wonderful that you took note, but there's so much more for you to learn about it. And so these experiences that we have, we think we're giving the correct message, but the message is so much greater. It doesn't mean that that smaller message isn't important, because it is. So don't ever underestimate what you were going through at that time, that message wasn't so vitally important, because that's how we share with other people. Some other people are going to go through the same experiences or something very similar. So when we talk about that daily thing that we go through, a daily experience, whatever that's happening in our emotions, like Melissa says, our emotion or our centering, our upheaval, whatever that is, it's so important. Then all of a sudden at the end of the day, if people can actually, and I'll invite everyone to do this, it's a very powerful tool, is that if you get outside of your daily circumstance and you look at your life from your death, okay, now everybody needs to absorb that word, because nobody likes the word death. And I actually embrace the word death, because that means at the end of your day, you have accomplished the things you were here to accomplish. Your time is done, and you get to go home, because you accomplished. You don't get to just jump out and not finish. So at the end of the day, and you're looking back over your life, if you can imagine the information that you have watching all of the knowings, because you have knowing. You can say, when I was 32 years old, this circumstance happened, and it's because of what happened when I was 60, and now I'm 95. We can look back over our life. We can look back over our contract. And when we do that, we have a new understanding. So what you're trying to explain to people is, on our journey forward, we can look back over this experience, good or bad or whatever it was, and we have new knowledge. We have wisdom. We have not only the experience of what we went through, but we also have this new, and we talk about peace, we talk about being centered, and we talk about the truth. And that universal truth can be so profound that that's why the circumstance was happening. So don't forget, when you're writing, when you're doing these things, and like you said, you're on the path, you have an agent, you're saying, let's go, we've got it done, and everything, and all of a sudden, God comes in and goes, excuse me, I'm sorry, but you're a child, and you have more to learn. But I was such a big girl, I didn't know how to tie my shoes, so it's this excitement that we get. And then, God just comes in and goes, but there's more. What is the universal truth about it? Okay, so all of us have been there. We've experienced that, and we can sit back and giggle instead of looking at failures. You have such a great view of this, and your truthful God experience with it. You're just like, oh, I get why it couldn't have happened then, because I needed to have more information. Instead of some people out there, I'd like to invite people that have failures in their life, or postponement, or setbacks, or a brick wall in front of them saying, we're moving this forward, and bam, that brick wall comes in, and you can't move at all. Everything that you've put together, that you've worked really hard for the past 10 years, or 8 years, or 2 years, and you knew you were going to do this, and it says, no, you're not. When that happens, don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as, okay, what else do I need to learn from this? What else do I need to know? Where is it that I was in my truth, because you were in your truth, but all of a sudden the universe goes, that's a truth, and we can give you some more truth to go with it. So instead of failing and feeling miserable and saying, I this was the wrong path and I did it all wrong, no, you did it right. You followed what you were told to follow, because the experience isn't complete without you failing in it. So it's really not a failure. It's a new asset for you to be able to look at it and go, oh, so this is the journey I had to take. And we talk about memoirs and the journey we're on. So then you have to write about that too. You have to say, oh, in this, I thought I was doing this, but now I know that this is what I was really doing. So add to that. We talk about your creative source and how you are in writing and presenting. And I think, when we look at Melissa, she has an amazing ability to write and to create, and it is her joy, and it is her path, and it is her playfulness, and her words are ring so true. But she also has the ability to communicate, and so do you. You have very good communication, speaking, auditorial.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
don't forget that part of this journey is about you talking also, and about you sharing. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, and I know this sounds a little harsh. I think you hide behind the writing sometimes, and because it's safe. Okay, you can choose your words, you can pick the way you want to say it, but right? I mean, you do. You're like, I don't want to really say it quite that way. Put a little nice spin on it.
Right?
Right? I mean, you do. So I'm like, love
that
you write.
Relates to that too. It's like, wait a minute. I do have this platform where I'm just writing. Let me rewrite that. Yes, I like that better. Thank you. And it wouldn't come out that way if I was speaking, because I would just be in the flow of my thoughts, and and I am a Sagittarius, so I often have foot in the mouth disease. So I go,
we love Saggies that just say, wow, you look really fat in that dress today. Maybe you should pick a different color. And you're like, oh, I think maybe I should.
No, I would like to believe that I've gone down the road of such horrific outbursts that I'm a little bit more polished. I would
honey,
never say that.
You don't have Tourette's. It's okay.
I, on the other hand, sorry, keep going.
So you actually
we invited Leanne was actually invited to come to Inspired Stage. For those of you that aren't aware, Inspired Perspective is actually connected to Inspired Stage International, which is if you had 10 minutes to share your message with the world, they're 10-minute TED Talks. And Leanne was invited to the London stage, and then also and it was an interesting journey to watch from the front row, because I know Leanne, and she doesn't know that I know this, but I know that she immediately went and sought help and went and spoke to coaches and about how to speak from stage.
I did.
And we'd already
because I don't do that.
We'd already invited her because we knew she was awesome. And then, of course, there was all sorts of chaos in terms of the particular time that she was going to be on stage in London was shifted. The actual Inspired Stage evening was shifted to a different night, and unfortunately didn't coordinate with Leanne's schedule. And so she was unable to get on that stage. And so she immediately experienced Spirit stepping in saying, no, not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe because of her incredible degree of self-doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I was in the flow of it, and I got to connect with somebody who is she's a coach, but she's an amazing speaker and an amazing public person, empowering person in life. And so I got to connect with her. So I looked at it like, okay, well, I don't know what that was, but at least I got to hang out with Lynn Rose and really be more focused on, if I had 10 minutes, what would I say?
A 10-minute speech is a hard speech. It's a speech that really, as a speaker, refines your gift. You have to really get down and say, okay, what is it that I'm here to share with the world? Because I've got 10 minutes on one international stage. And so it's, as much as it sounds like it would be easy to a lot of people to get on stage for 10 minutes to share your message, it's a lot easier to do a keynote for 40 minutes. It's, where you can throw in a few jokes to make yourself a little more comfortable. But it's actually quite a hard task. And you're still actually, where with Inspired setting up its stage everywhere, where Inspired Stages will be starting here in Australia in September. And it's starting in the US around the same time. And so Leanne's actually still at the top of our list to get on that stage.
Yay, one day.
But I don't think I'm going to warn you when, because I don't want you.
That's okay. I can roll with it. I'm flexible.
But look, one of the things that I get from your team that are communicating through you is the diversity of their communication. Because you have well, see, it's probably better to talk about guides and angels and the different communication levels that are trying to come through you. But one of the reasons that you should sit down regularly and just write is because you have different messages to come through you. From a writing perspective, I would say to you, this is just from my heart to yours, Leanne, with your first piece that you've written, cast that beast out, get rid of it. Like, don't throw it away. Do the Winston Churchill cast it out, where you throw the beast to the public. Just let that first one go, because it'll never feel complete to you. And as a writer, that's what happens to us. You're going to keep adjusting it, and it's just going to become torture for you. So that first one that you've written that you thought was complete 3 years ago, wrap it up and send that out, and then start a fresh piece with your new message. You've learned a lot in the last 3 years.
Well, I mean, that's actually what I'm in the middle of. I'm in the middle of the rewrite, and it's starting to actually feel like it's starting to feel connected and good, and like, okay, this is actually more of what it's more of what I would like to share with the world versus the first draft, which was really, it's something that Cyd touched on too. It was cathartic. It was super important for me, and I understand its value. And for as much as I did go through the whole, are you kidding me? This is all just going to be nothing for nothing. I'm past
right?
that. Yeah, right. I'm past that. And so now I'm on to that next stage of, that little kid who threw the fit on the ground. That already happened 2 years ago. and now I am on to the next stage of like, okay, that in a way, I actually think that that's what grace is. And I get a redo, and the rewrites feel good. And quite honestly, that first thing, in a way, I think, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I didn't get the publishing deal everybody told me I was going to get, because then I would actually have to stand by that. And I don't want to anymore.
I think that there's a couple things that you're learning. And one of those is that, everybody out there, that are healers and teachers and assistants and servers out there and stuff like that, or people that aren't, it doesn't really matter. But I think there's two things in this perspective that you need to take note with. And one is that if you're looking at children between the age of 0 and 12, okay, a kindergartner can help a 2-year-old. Kindergartner might not be something magnificent like a 12-year-old. They haven't gone through the schooling. They haven't gone through the learning lessons. But they can absolutely assist with a 2-year-old, a baby, giving a baby a bottle, consoling them, rocking them, or playing with a 4-year-old and saying, this is how we do tic-tac-toe. Okay? So instead of rewriting calculus to kindergartners, sometimes we have to let the kindergartner be the role that they're in because it's so vitally important to the little ones. At the other hand, the simultaneous thing is happening with you is that when we are intuitive, when we are old souls, we recognize our karmic contract. We have it within us. And we fail to recognize, or we fail to ask the question, and when is that to happen for us? Okay, when I was 6 years old, I used to tell my mom all the time, I have people I have to help. And she's like, honey, go play. I'm like, no, you don't understand, Mom. I have thousands of people I have to help. And she's like, go be 6. I'm like, I don't have time to be 6 because I'm 4,000 years old. Are you kidding me? And so I just get so upset with her. And she's like, but you're 6. I'm like, and we need to move to Boston, and I need to go to Europe. I need to be in Australia. And so, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people out there. And I'm going to be on TV, but I'm not going to be an actress because that's stupid, because it's just fake and it's not real. But I'm supposed to be on TV, and I'm supposed to be on radio, and I'm talking to all these people, and I'm helping all these people. And my mom's like, oh, my God, chick, relax. the thing is that you know that you're supposed to be a writer. You know that you're supposed to give a message. You know the message is your life's experience. We all know that. But the important part, I did TV opportunities that fell through I don't know how many hundreds of times when I was in my 20s. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to be on TV. I'm 20. I knew this by the time I was 6 years old. I'm 53 now. And all of those times I'm like, oh, I can see why I shouldn't have been there in my 20s because, wow, nobody was going to listen to me anyway, like they didn't listen to me when I was 6. So now that I'm 53, I might have more wisdom, even though it's the same words that I would have spoke then, so people would listen to me so I could do TV. Okay, so so all you people out there that know your karmic contract, always remember to ask, when is that to happen? Because it's a great tool to learn.
I'm going to give Leanne a little bit of work. So because effectively what we're doing with the beautiful Cyd today is helping lay the path for you. Today, I'm going to give a few of the little footfalls for Leanne. Leanne has an amazing website called blissbubble.com, and on there she has a look, I'm going to call it a blog called The Bliss Report.
Yes.
And so the challenge I'm going to give to you, Leanne, it's not really a challenge, it's just asking you to step right into the belly of your gift.
Okay.
Is to write a piece in the Bliss Bubble about Today with Cyd.
Sure.
So, or in the Bliss Report, sorry, not that.
Yeah.
It'll be on both, but yes, in the Bliss Report. So those of you that are listening, if you want to have a look at who this sweetheart is, Leanne, her website's blissbubble.com, and hopefully we'll be able to see a piece about this mad journey we've taken her on today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would love to talk a little bit about that in a Bliss Report. And I'm sure you've got other callers, and I'm like, wait a minute.
We have another caller coming in, so I'm going to say thank you very much for calling in.
Also,
I will definitely be in touch with you about connections and things with publishers and stuff.
Oh, of course.
So
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cyd. I appreciate all of your wisdom and your insight, and to the angels and guides that speak to you and through you. I bow. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a blessing. Many, many, many wonderful opportunities for you and in your journey. And keep going, girl. You're doing great.
Thanks so much. Mm-hmm. Bye, you guys. Bye, Monty. Bye, Melissa.
See ya.
Thanks, Leanne.
Bye.
All right, so we have another caller, Mont.
Yes, 831. Are you still there?
Hello. No, have we lost someone? Are they hung up on us?
Yeah. Yes, we mentioned them, they hung up. So, yeah.
It's amazing how much
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come on. Don't be shy.
Just quickly, the number again is 347-688-2902 if you want to call in and ask a question. We don't bite. We just giggle a lot and help people. So, I mean, what's there to be scared of?
That's right. We're not scary, are we, Cyd?
You know what? I'll tell you something. I was out at a wonderful gathering last night. I've got very dear friends. One of my closest friends ever have a Down syndrome baby. He's 5 months old. His name is Bo, and he's had to have 3 open heart surgeries in 5 days. And so everybody's prayers and blessings and stuff to our little warrior Bo. He's in another surgery today, and he's doing quite well. So we were out at this gathering, right? For the support of this family and the things that they've been going through. And so, I'm talking with individuals and people are coming up because they've seen me on the radio or heard me on the radio and seen me on TV and stuff, so they know that I'm there and that I'm a healer and that I've been working with this little baby, since he's been born. And we talk about somebody being afraid, the information that I have. And this woman, she's kind of back a little bit, she's maybe 10 feet from me, and she's kind of hiding behind this man, which I assume is her husband at the time. I don't know, but, she's kind of hiding. She's peeking around the corner of his shoulder and then kind of going back and then peeking around. And I noticed that she's, like, looking right at me, though, like should I talk to her or should I not? So I had said to Amanda, my friend, I said, so this woman, over here, she seems really, questioning, is she okay? Is she not? And stuff. So Amanda comes and brings her over to me, and she stood there and she was trembling. She was literally just trembling. And she said, Cyd, I have known about you for so many years, and I've seen you in different places, and I'm just have to talk to you. And I said, absolutely, honey, let's have a conversation. And she said, but I need to know, because I'm so scared, if you're going to see darkness in my soul.
Oh.
I started laughing, and I'm like, you? Are you kidding me? You're probably one of the most white light souls I've ever seen in my life. I go, you don't have anything to worry about. Are you kidding me? And she's like, well, I just didn't know, because I was so afraid. She said, I've been following you for like 10 years. I said, oh, you should have taken this up with me 10 years ago. You wouldn't have had to worry about this.
10 years of worry.
And she's like, yeah, just worrying and trembling. I'm like, oh, sweet Pete, you're fine. Are you kidding me? So sometimes people, in presence, in divine presence, they get afraid. They have fears, and they make all kinds of stuff up that they're not going to be accepted or not going to, it's funny, sometimes people will call me and we have a problem with communication, like phone lines or different things. And people will immediately go, well, I guess that was, the universe telling me that something really better was going to happen in my life. I'm like, no, it's just a phone line. Really. It didn't mean anything other than I couldn't call you back.
Yeah.
So, people make up all kinds of things that they want to be afraid of. They're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask this question, or maybe I shouldn't know. And what if she's going to say something bad? You say the truth. Sometimes things are hard. Sometimes things are wonderful. Sometimes things, you speak to somebody and they're expecting one thing, and we talked about something completely different. You never know what Spirit's going to say or how they're going to guide you. So, instead of having those fears or those apprehensions, it's okay to be curious, and it's okay to just want to know the truth.
It is. And I agree. Sometimes that truth is harsh. I think people these days, particularly, increasingly, people are afraid to hear the truth. But when it comes to things like the darkness, or you have to remember that to see anything completely, you need the dark. It actually is. If you think about any great drawing or any shape or sculpture, or even just seeing another human before you, it's the shadow that actually brings the shape.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
And so anything that's in balance, of course, is going to have the light and the dark. And part of the makeup of who you are in this human experience is to have that darkness. Often the richest lessons and the greatest wisdom you'll have to share, and everyone has a story to share. There is no one that's unimportant. But often that wisdom has come out of the dark. So, it is interesting, isn't it? I will get people that are afraid to speak to me for the same reason. They're afraid that I'm going to see something dark within them. And chances are I do see that darkness. But it's where I don't bring attention to it.
Hi, how are you, by the way?
We don't want to go play with it.
Well, actually, Monty was
teasing. Yeah.
I was talking to Monty recently about. I was recently in an environment with a crowd where, as I walked into the crowd, I'd felt the entire vibration of the crowd, and as I walked in, there was one man there that I had not felt in the crowd, which is weird, right? So straight away, I thought, he must be on staff at the hotel, or he's not part of the audience that I actually had to engage with that day. And no, he was absolutely part of it, And, I joke, but I don't, that in every crowd that I end up before, there's always one person with the lowest self-esteem that is the most challenging in terms of, that in terms of, because they have such low self-esteem, they take up a lot of time, and they, they're not really listening and all of that stuff. And of course, this gentleman's turned into a phenomenal stalker. So he's like the one person that, the short version of what's going on in that journey. And I was telling Monty about it, because as I walked in, I thought, he's not even part of this crowd. That's really interesting. And then to see him sitting in the audience was really odd. And the minute I connected, it was because he was so guarded, because his intent was not good.
At all. at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was in my
it's actually,
office.
interestingly,
Yeah.
the staff that work with me at QBI Healing are a little bit scared of him, but I'm not. So yeah, at the moment it's me just shutting this guy down. But yeah, it's interesting the people that come along, and yeah, I don't often engage the dark. And with this particular gentleman, I haven't engaged his dark either. It's just who he is, and that's his road. He owns it. So.
You know, it's so fun when we can recognize that. You know, we recognize somebody who has really negative intent. You know, a lot of people, you know, we talk about the light and the dark, and that, you know, us older souls absolutely have the knowledge that at one time or another we have to go to the darkest dark in order to be the lightest light, and because the universe is a duality, and if you don't understand the dark, if you're not willing to go into that dark state of being, whether that be depression or fear or evil, it can be a lot of different things. You know, we've talked about me working with, you know, homicides and you know, God only knows what people do out there. But it's a volunteered state to be able to go do that. And once we understand it, and once we know it, and once we've lived it or experienced it, or been a part of it, then we can understand how to get from there into the light. We also understand what motivates people and what that fear is about, and that it can create a power within them, and they get attached to the power of the dark, and just like people get attached to the power of the light. And so some people, you know, out there, just so everybody has an understanding, some people are here just to do evil. That's it. That's all they're here to do. And you can see it on them, and you can look into their eyes, and if you recognize this, 90% of the time your skin will crawl. You won't have a good feeling about it, and they have very dark eyes. Not necessarily dark colored, but when you look into them, it's like a deep, dark black hole. And so, you know, when people say somebody's soulless, that would be a good representation of saying, you know, that they have nothing but dark intent for you or for others, and they're here to do bad things. Look at Charles Manson. You know, he's an individual that when you look at him, he has nothing but dark. And that means, on the other hand, where is the light that goes in association with him? Because it has to. Everybody thinks, you know, you're either evil or you're good, and that's not the truth. That's not the truth. You know, you talk about it, that people have a dark side in their personalities, or they're doing dark deeds. They're doing things that are here to harm people. But no matter what, sooner or later, their harm has to become, you know, the darkest part to the lightest light. When you have an understanding of that, of course, like yourself, I'm not afraid of that. You're not afraid of that. We don't entertain the dark part of that person. We're just like, yeah, but, you know, if you want it to be light, we could show you how to do that. So we can entertain or give them permission to be willing to change. Some of them want to, some of them don't. Some of them want to do this journey in this lifetime or other lifetimes and continue. You know, they want to hurt, they want to maim, they want to kill, they want to rape and pillage, or, you know, just play black magic or whatever the heck they want to do, you know, whatever association they're in with it. At the same time, they find the white light people, they find us as individuals, and they're immediately attracted to us. They can't help it. And sometimes they want to empower, sometimes they want to disempower, sometimes they're just so attracted to it because they just seek so much help. They don't want to be in the pain that they're in, even though they're attracted to it. It's painful. It can be very vacant and very dark and very cold. And people like warmth. They like love. They want to be loved even at their darkest times. They like it. They want to have something that they can attach to be a part of. And so sometimes they feel, you know, it's kind of like kids in gangs. Well, we're all doing something bad, but we're doing it all together. You know, you're my bud, right? You're my bro. We're going to go kill people, but we're doing it together, so y'all love me, right? You know, it's the same thing. We gather. And in people's evil ways, you know, their behaviors they still have a yearning to be connected. So it's that connection, that oneness that they're seeking. So when you find an individual that's so alone, like this one is, like the man that you're talking about,
Oh, yeah.
he's so alone, and he's very afraid. And and he's not afraid of himself because he can look in the mirror and see who he really is. But he wants to learn something a little bit different. That's why he's gravitating to you. And a lot of times I've been stalked. I don't know how many times I've had death threats on me and my children and stuff because, people think I'm crazy or whatever. Or they're just adamant that they're going to change the world about me. And I'm like, okay, I understand. You're afraid. Do you want to have a conversation? Because we can talk about this. We can actually talk the truth about what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, so that's what he's doing. He's just saying, can you give any hope to me?
Yeah, well, the thing that I haven't been at all nasty to him. So
of course not. No.
Because they, you get people like this, and we know that because we've chosen this path in this life. But, interestingly, I saw on social media, on Facebook, a few days ago, there was an article tripping around that people were looking at that was pictures of some of the most infamous mass murderers around the world when they were children. And it was 15 of the worst murderers in the world, and the article was about images of them as a child who would have guessed, that they would become who they are. And Charles Manson was actually included in that. Not necessarily the worst, but certainly one of the most infamous. And I had a look at this article. I didn't actually look at the pictures. But because I didn't need to, I actually looked at it to have a look at the figures to see how many people were looking at this article. What were they looking for in the eyes of these images of children? What was the fascination? People were engaging, and we're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people were looking at this article.
For sure.
Yeah, which fascinated me that they were so interested to see that dark. And you have to remember that Charles Manson is a great example. He wasn't actually born a mass murderer. Not everyone in that list. In fact, of those 15, I could tell you that maybe 2 of them were born sociopaths, pretty much, or in fact psychopaths. But only 2 of the 15 were. The rest of them were conditioned. Charles Manson, you have to remember, came from a family that conditioned him to behave like that.
Yep.
So he wasn't actually born evil. It was a conditioning. As Cyd said, it's a decision, and anything's a single decision away for you. Intent is everything. And so, he's made his choices, and I agree to look into those eyes. They're an abyss of dark, but that's the choice that he's actually made. And you have to remember that most people that are in agony, are in agony from cause usually in this life, maybe from past lives too, but in this life, something has occurred to condition them to that point. And so, it's interesting. This gentleman's that I've encountered in recent times is on his own path, and I'm not engaging it. He's one of those people, though, that you'll meet. For those that you aren't aware, the fastest growing disease on this planet at the moment is depression. And one of the audiences that you see depression enormously in is in the New Age audience. New Age spiritual audience is, I would venture to say, over 90% depressed, all of them. It's really quite a sad thing to see in New Age audiences at the moment because, and this gentleman absolutely falls into that. We're talking about that, the New Age crowd where they're doing every New Age modality, they're not studying, they're doing every course, paying for every certificate, but they're not looking in depth. They're scratching the surface everywhere, desperately seeking answers, but they're not actually sitting down and looking at themselves. And it's a very difficult crowd to deal with at the moment because of the rate and mass of depression in that crowd. And this gentleman absolutely fits it. He's done every workshop and program from Reiki to you name it with every New Age guru, and so many of them are self-proclaimed. But anyway, well, when we talk about these New Age people taking their own pedestal, it is pretty full on. But yeah, this gentleman's absolutely, he's almost custom built to represent that crowd. And it's another reason that I haven't engaged him and said, you're being a bit ridiculous. It
is quite
you and your drama.
It is very interesting that, I love and light, I'm so depressed. It's like, you're missing something, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's, you so much want to say, Sid, when we were talking to Leanne earlier, it's amazing where, it looks like the stop sign has gone up. Like Spirit said, no, you're not going ahead in that publishing deal, or no, you're not going ahead with that agent. But it's not actually a stop sign. It's just a change direction. It's just a guidance. It's you're changing path here. This is where you're going to turn the corner and go in a different direction. And so it's never, very rarely, if it's a stop sign, you're dead. That's the end of this life.
I always look at it as an obstacle course.
Yeah.
And or what are the ones where you go in and it's all brick walls and you're just going through and it's a maze type of thing? Yeah. Yeah. So you go through that and all of a sudden you hit a wall because you turned right and you weren't supposed to turn right. So the universe goes, no, go back. You have to retrack your steps and then you need to turn left up here. So then you turn left and you're still trying to find your way and stuff. But every time you hit that brick wall, every time you hit a place that says you can no longer further go this direction, then all you have to do is go, well, am I going to hit my head against this brick wall time and time and time and time and time again? Am I going to go over the top of the wall? Is it an obstacle as a challenge, or is it really telling me, no, we have something better in mind for you. You can have the rainbow at the end, but you just have to go through this path a little bit, And so we watch people. It's funny. It's designed for people that are in the wrong direction. That they really truly think that they're going to do something, significant, and they've made it up in their head. Some people make up their limited realities. They attach to a fantasy, and a lot of we talk about the New Age people out there, and I'm not saying anything about them in general, okay? But sometimes they're so lost that they attach to a fantasy, out there, and in that fantasy, it's everything's all lovely and pretty, and all you have to do is just give free love. And it's high. The energy is high. It's very, very soft and floaty and everything else. And when it talks about it, it's like, no, you have to do the work. You have to be grounded. You have to say, no, my truth is this. I will give love. I will endure these things. So when people get into fantasy, you can hear their vibration and you can hear their words. I believe that it's going to be like this. Okay, so it's very high. And so they're attaching to something that they want to believe in. It's the same way in religion. They want to have faith. They want to believe. They're like, oh, but I know that if I just stay in this path, everything's going to be just fine. Mm-mm. No, it isn't. And so though we have this design of guiding people the way they need to be guided, the truth of them always comes out. Sometimes God just says, we don't know what you're thinking, but this is not true. It's just false. It's just a lie. You've made it up.
One of the things that I love about that New Age crowd, though, is that they're looking. Whenever I'm in that crowd, one thing that I love to sort of, really what you want to say to anyone in that crowd is, I love that you've opened your eyes. I love that you're looking. You're just going the wrong way. Can I just point you in this direction?
Right. Here, take my hand. Come this way. Come on.
Broke. Your relationship's falling apart.
Turn left, please turn left.
But, it's so easy to say, look, I'm just living light and I'm in the white light and that's all great. But look around you in your own life and notice that your relationship's falling apart. You're broke. Your wholly crushed velvet skirt needs a bit of patching. Let's, and so let's look at bringing balance back to your life because you started looking. So let's bring balance back to it. And But yeah, but the one thing that I have to credit to, and one of the reasons I will always enter that New Age crowd and speak with them and share with them anything that I can, is because they are looking. You know, they're consciously opening to what is out there. And so, which brings me to another topic that I did want to actually ask about, Cyd. You know, the way that I've described what you do is a multidimensional communication. How would you describe it? Because it really is multiple levels of vibration that you bring in your communication, isn't it?
Yes, we touched on it a little bit before that some people have psychic ability, and the psychics out there have the ability to just read the person, their wants, their dreams, their desires, the vibration that's happening in their own communication with their human self. Okay, I can look at that. I can look at them as a person and say, okay, this is where you're at. This is how old you are spiritually. This is your journey. This is, the task that you're going to perform in this lifetime. But that's only a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of what I do. I have your guides. We talked a little bit about, me speaking about guides and angels and whatnot. And guides are individuals, so that everybody has a real good understanding about this. We contract our guides before we're born. They're with us our whole lifetime until after we die, okay? They can return to us with us if we karmically contract with them, because they guide us. We trust them. We honor them. We are to give them direction in the beginning so that they can guide us on our life and in our journeys. So a lot of times our guides come with us in many, many, many lifetimes, and they stay with us, in spirit form. Sometimes we need new ones. Sometimes we grow to a place that we do need new ones. We need older ones. We need wiser ones to take us on our journey. But everybody out there is never alone. You are not allowed to come to Earth as a human being left alone, ever. It's a universal law that you will be accompanied. So all these people that walk around afraid that they're alone, I'm all alone in my life. I'm like, no, you got somebody with you, or you have a few. So your guides are individuals that want to help you. Talk to them, communicate with them, talk to them every day. And the more you talk to them, the more information and more guidance, hence the word guide. They will guide you. They will tell you, don't go there, that's dangerous, or, oh, you really like that person. Okay, so they're assisting your life. You trust them. They are your best comrades, okay? They're your best comrades. They want nothing but your highest good, okay? And they will see to it that you will go through horrific events if you were to go through horrific events. If you're supposed to get in an accident and live, you will get in the accident and you will live. Mm-hmm. Other times, they are there to say, whoa, you're not supposed to get in that accident. Stop. I don't know where you're going, but don't do that. So they're to guide you away from that. It just depends, but their job is your highest self, okay? They're with you all the time. Now, angels are different. A lot of people misunderstand angels, and I talk to your guides. I have my own guides, so it's a guideship, okay? And it's very spiritual plane, but at the same time, it's guiding you as an earthbound human. Mm. Angels are only angels. Everybody that believes that if you have a loved one and they pass away, that they become an angel in heaven. That is not true. They can be a beautiful spirit. They don't get wings. They're not an angel. Angels are an angelic form of the higher divine being. It's heaven and spirit. And they stay angels for eternity. Okay? Now, there are some exceptions where the hierarchy, the archangels, let's say Michael, the archangel, Gabriel, the archangel, they can come every once in a while in a very great millennium to be human for a short period of time. It's very rare. Angels do not become humans, and humans do not become angels. They're the divine spiritual beings that help God and help heaven. Archangels are very powerful. They are amazing. If anybody ever gets an opportunity to have one come to you, you will be on your knees in awe. They have the most magnificent, beautiful, powerful, divine energy that your whole body just becomes at peace. There isn't even human words to say that the presence of them. It's magnificent. So when I read for people, I can read all of those places. I can go to the angels that are there with you. I can go to the spirit people, the grandparents or the children or the father or something that is past. I can see all those. I can talk to those as mediumship. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I can go to the archangels if I need be. And then we have the spiritual beings. And we have the masters. Masters are like Jesus and Buddha. And there's many more, but I could go to them and have conversation with them. So I have the ability, or I have been given the honor, and it's true honor for me. I can go to the direct high source, God source. I can have direct communication with God. I can have direct communication with the masters. I can go to your Akashic records where you have written and karmically contracted in the book of life what you are here to do. I can go to your soul. I speak directly to your soul and your soul's purpose. I can go to your personality. I can go to your emotions. I can go to anywhere. I have permission to be able to access any of that information as needed. Sometimes it's needed for me to only go to God's source, just to the spiritual universal information. And I like going there the best because there's nothing but truth there. I'm not here to coddle or to misinterpret how you're thinking. So my job is I have to communicate to where you're listening from. Okay? I can't communicate to how I'm listening because your soul's level might not understand that. So I communicate to what your knowledge has, how advanced your soul is, and what you need to have the information of. I can have much more information about you, but I have to be able to communicate it to you in a proper way. Okay? So my ability as a master, because I'm a master, I've been here, I don't know, I lost count about 4,000 years ago, or 4,000 lifetimes ago. So I come here often to be able to bring that universal information, that God's information, to each and every one of you. Sometimes in helping, sometimes in seminars, sometimes in writing, sometimes in reading, sometimes in healings, and I'm just accessible for whatever it is. So all of that multidimensional information, that communication, as Melissa calls it, it's divine communication. My body opens up to whatever it is that needs to be received. So when we talk about, it's funny, you brought up about meditation and what it's like to be able to center yourself. I have practiced many years, and I've been able to master this, is that I have no communication in my mind. I don't have conversation back and forth in my mind. A lot of people have so much communication, they get so lost in their life because they talk to themselves all day long. I don't do that. I have stopped communication in my mind unless it's a problem I need to figure out. Okay, so my mind and my body is blank. And it's a hard thing to learn because at first when you go into a blank state like that, the first thing you want to do is talk to yourself so that you don't feel all alone. But now I recognize that anytime I have communication in my mind, it's me. And I have to erase that communication so I can have spirit come through me. So when I'm, like before the show, I'm on the show today and I'm just tapped into universal information. I don't know what I'm going to say or why I'm going to say it or the conversation we're going to have. But I center myself for a couple minutes before the show and I take deep breaths. When you take a deep breath in and hold it to the top for 3 seconds, as high as you can possibly hold that deep breath, and then exhale it slowly out of your mouth for as long as it takes, at the bottom of that breath, it's a physical impossibility to be able to think. Mm-hmm. Your mind will quiet. And then you focus your breathing and you take another complete deep breath in, hold at the top of the count of 3, and exhale completely. And as you exhale at the bottom of that complete exhale, the quietness gets longer. So when we have meditation, it's about that our bodies allow our mind to quiet through the focus and the recognition of the breath. Okay? So if I need more information when I'm reading for you, you've heard me quiet. And my quiet is that I take a deep breath and I let it out, and then the information comes because I have to clear my mind. I have to clear my body as a vessel for the transmission, for the words to come or the vision to come. So all I have to do is breathe a little bit differently, and when I do, then the communication becomes very clear. So when somebody calls me for 3 seconds on the phone, I'm like, okay, what's your name? And I take a breath, and then all of their life shows up. So it's so important. If you can just learn how to control your breathing, not control your mind, control your breathing, and then you become an open vessel for that information. Intuition, clairvoyance, psychic ability, the healing ability, clairaudience, it doesn't matter. If you just breathe out, you can get information in 2 seconds.
It is. It's about stillness, which I think many people are afraid of. I think you're right.
It scares them.
I guess that stillness is something that is perceived as being alone in the dark, but it's and now that I've said that, next time you're meditating, you're probably going to be sitting there going, okay, I need to go to stillness. Stillness now. Bring in stillness. I'm bringing stillness.
I'm being still. I'm being still. I'm so still right now. Hey, can you see how still I am? Oh, I'm still right. Yeah.
I have some meditation tapes, that I did a number of years ago, and a lot of people that don't know how to meditate, I tell them meditate to music. And they're like, but you're telling me to be quiet and not to think anything. I'm like, no. Put music on. Let somebody guide you through meditation. Take a shower, go for a drive or something like that. Because as soon as I tell you to not think, your whole brain is going to go, okay, what am I not to think about? Are you telling me not to think? Well, I'm not thinking now. Yes, I'm really totally thinking, oh my gosh, I'm totally messing this up. Or if I tell you don't see a red apple, everybody's mind goes to, oh, there's that red apple. So when I say be quiet, people go, why do I need to be quiet? Okay, I shouldn't say anything, and so this conversation comes up in your head. Like, okay, how long do I need to be quiet for?
It's, even with all the work that I've done in healing and the thousands of patients I work on, whenever I'm teaching, which, I was doing a few weeks ago, I still occasionally will just, probably because I'm medically trained and so part of my gift is that medical intuition. I can way overthink what I'm doing when I'm in session, when I'm in a healing session. Because I can look at the body and go, well, gee, what's happening in that left lung, or what's going on? And, I actually still, after all this practice and all these years and everything that I've done in it, I still have to get out of my own bloody way. Get out of your own way, Melissa. What are you doing? And so,
absolutely, we do. And, and with the best of us, there are times where, I'll be reading for somebody or talking with somebody and something just keeps coming up in my head. So because it comes up in my head, I'll have to, like my aunt, I was around her, at this period of time, and I was with her, and I looked at her, and I'm like, JoJo? She said, yeah. I go, how come I smell popcorn around you all the time? Because I just wouldn't get out of my head. And it's like, you have to talk to her about popcorn. What is this popcorn thing? Because it just wouldn't stop talking to me. And she's so cute and so sweet. She's just such a dear lady. She goes, oh my gosh, you can't tell anybody. And I said, tell anybody what? Because I'm asking you about the popcorn. She goes, well, I get up every morning about, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I know I shouldn't be eating it in the middle of the night, but I really love my popcorn, and but don't tell anyone. I just start laughing. I'm like, that's all it is? That's what the popcorn thing is? Because it's been bugging me for 20 minutes. So sometimes, when we're overthinking something, it's because we just have to ask the question. We just have to go, I need to bring this up because I can't get the right answer. And so I've gone over and dissected it in my mind at least 80 times. So what's the deal with popcorn? Sometimes
this story is actually in in my book, but I'll share it. Early days when I'd come to recognize that I had this gift in healing, I went to see these two ladies that were really, it was a very strange session to go to. That's why it's in the book. It was an odd one. And these ladies were in a very, very opulent part of town, and their house was worth many, many millions of dollars. And I wasn't allowed to go in the front door. I had to go down the back and into the servants' entry down under the basement, and it was all very extreme. And throughout the session, these ladies, I've gone in and they had this strange room where they had a treatment table covered in animal skins and various other things. I mean, it really was quite out there. I really do meet all sorts, I tell you. But these, throughout the sessions working on these two ladies, I mean, I'd gone in thinking, my God, I've got to get out of here fast. You know, like, what on earth is this?
Yeah. Run, run.
And it was all part of the lesson. But throughout the session, and this was early days where I was learning, you know, I'd gone from this extreme left brain existence in this life where I was an officer in the military and scientist and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And here I was in the basement of this house with animal skins all over a treatment table and candles burning everywhere. And these two ladies that I wasn't allowed to speak too loud because they didn't want anyone else to know that I was there. And throughout the entire sessions on this lady, I kept hearing the term airhead. And I was thinking, that's got to be me. Like, it was such a lesson in learning to trust the guidance that I was being given and the communication that was coming through me, because throughout the entire session on these two ladies, I kept hearing the word airhead, airhead, airhead. And eventually I thought, at the end of it, the second session on the second lady, I thought, look, I had nothing to lose. I was about to leave. And so I said to this one lady, I'm so sorry to say this to you, but I keep hearing the word airhead. And really, if you met these two ladies, it wasn't that far out there. I could have just been really offensive. But it turned out throughout this woman's entire life, and she was in her early 50s, she had been called an airhead by her family, by her parents, by her siblings, and by her very wealthy husband. She'd been called. Part of this enormous healing that happened for this woman, as it turned out, was the fact that we addressed that and moved her past it. She had been called an airhead her whole life. I can understand why, given the circumstances I was in. But it is in my book if you want to read the full story. It is, I believe it's quite funny. At the time, I could tell you I wasn't laughing. But it's,
well, because you never know what you're going to get. And you know, you just receive stuff that in your mind makes no logical sense at all. I mean, you know, when we sit down and heal people, you know, you're in this position and you're working in their body and you're seeing things or you're feeling something. And when you ask the question, why? It's like, what is that? What's going on there? You know, why is that like that? We don't ever get the answer why. Nobody in the universe, if everybody could erase the answer why, it would be so much a better answer that you would get. You say, okay, I'm feeling in her kidneys something's going on. Can you give me more information? Yeah. And then the more information comes. So you have to ask the right questions sometimes. And it's funny that people think that clairvoyants and psychics and seers and stuff know every single solitary thing about you. We don't. We don't have a clue, to be honest with you, until we tap into that universal information and we get the information and we impart the information with you. Yes, there's times where I know what somebody's thinking. And I can just look at somebody and go, well, do you want to address that one question that you want to ask? You know, we can talk about that. You know, sometimes it's so apparent what you're thinking. Some things we don't know about. We don't need to know about it. And other times something hits us that we don't understand, that doesn't make logical sense at all. So we have to communicate it to you. You know, the same thing like airhead. You keep getting the same name. You're like, this makes no sense to me other than, you know, maybe it's me. So when we say, you know, I'm sorry, but I just keep hearing this word.
Yeah.
And I don't get it because it doesn't make any logical sense to us at all. The person goes, well, that's exactly it. That's what I've been called my whole life. And, you know, then we now know how to address it. Individuals like us, we get information and we just listen. We're guided in a way that we always say yes to. Individuals that are chosen, and I'll talk about it. When we're chosen people, we've been chosen to come here to serve God, to serve humanity, to serve the world, and to serve in the best way we know how to do in our physical body. We've practiced many, many, many lifetimes, and we've honed our skills, whatever those skills are. There's many people that are amazing healers in different ways. Okay, that doesn't mean all of us know how to do what somebody else does. That's why there's so many of us, so that we can all help each other. But we have one communication, and in that communication, we allow our soul to govern us. And in our soul says, yes, we will serve. It is our honor to do so. And so we allow guidance of that universal source every day, 24 hours a day, to guide us. There are times, and I'm addressing this situation because there are so many wonderful healers out there that listen to the show and that want to be a part of this. And sometimes they feel, so alone that they're doing something wrong, or they're misinterpreting something because they're all by themselves. I'd love to do a show just on helping healers be healers, because when we're learning it on our own, we sometimes have a misunderstanding of if we're doing it right. Am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Am I doing the right thing? I hope I'm not hurting this person. I hope I'm helping this person. And so we're learning as we go too. So one thing that I recognize is that we just say yes. We aren't incorrect in anything. We allow God to take us on our path. Sometimes we're only supposed to help one person in a room. Sometimes we're supposed to be at a grocery store and there's a lady there and we help her with her cart. We're guided to do so. It overtakes our body. It overtakes our being, and it overtakes our world. And as long as we can continue every day to say, yes, I will be of service. Whatever it is you need me to help you with here is being human. And we don't know what it is. Half the time we don't know what we're walking into. Sometimes we can be on stage in front of 200 people and we have an idea about what we're going to speak about, and the whole day turns left. And we're supposed to talk about something completely different because Spirit's guiding us. They're saying, but you need to address this one thing. And we thought we were there for something else. Sometimes we have to stay at home. How many people out there that are so intuitive and so psychic that they can't leave their home? They're not allowed to go outside. There's times where I cannot go outside. I'm like, I can't leave, sorry. And people are like, well, Cyd, let's go to dinner. I'm like, can't go. Because I'm told to stay at home. Or I need to leave the house now. I need to go. I've got to get out. I've got to do something. And it's not just restlessness. It's I'm being guided to go. I'm being guided to talk to somebody. I'm being guided to be quiet. Sometimes it's don't say anything to that person. But we as these significant healers, our communication is with that divine spirit. And we know when we have denied it. And when we've denied it, it's the most painful experience you will ever have in your body. When you're trying to deny what God's telling you to do. Mm-hmm. And we can fight it for a while, but I guarantee you that big kahuna that's upstairs, he will win. We will have to say uncle and throw in the white towel going, okay, I guess you win. I guess I'm going to go do that.
I've had moments like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially it's like, I want to leave the house now. No, not yet. And then 3 minutes passes. Okay, now. And that's that's why I wanted to share. It's like, even if it's just a 3-minute pause, it's like, okay, just the matrix has been aligned again. I don't know, but yeah, it's fascinating.
It sounds too simple, and it can often frustrate people when I say this. But one of the key phrases you can take in your life that's going to bring you an enormous amount of relief is to understand that all is appropriate. All is
Yep.
appropriate. If you are stuck or caught or you're getting every red light on the way to work or, all of this is appropriate. There will be something behind it that is taking care of you. It's as much as you're frustrated and you're sitting there, or you're stuck in traffic or the freeway is locked up and you're not moving at all, or sit back and just take a deep breath and say to yourself, okay, all is appropriate. It's happening with purpose. Nothing is occurring without it. And you will find that can bring enormous calm to you to understand that something bigger, it might show itself later that there was a huge car accident that you managed to avoid. Or there will be circumstances that may show themselves later why it was appropriate. But
and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But the simple fact that if it doesn't show itself, you're like, okay, well, whatever you wanted to divert me from, that's a good thing. Thank you.
It's a bit like, Leanne, our caller earlier, was discussing that, she had this great publishing deal and then it all fell apart. And that's a really hard one to sit back and say, okay, this is appropriate for some reason. All is appropriate. But sure enough, the purpose of what she's doing and how she's doing it had a bigger purpose and will turn around in a different direction for her. And already that is happening for her now. In the moment when you're disappointed, it's not such a great feeling.
Yeah, there's like the long game as well. It could take 4 years. It's like, oh, that's why that happened. Okay, now I understand.
It's like we were talking about before about going through the dark. And I know if we're privileged enough to be in your ear right now, if you're somewhere in the dark, feeling depression, feeling down, feeling bad, and you have Revolution Radio in the background and we're lucky enough to be in the room with you, please take Winston Churchill's advice. If you're going through hell, keep going. Don't set up camp there. Keep moving forward in whatever way you can. And that doesn't mean you have to leave your house. It doesn't mean that you have to do something uncomfortable. Just remember to keep going forward. And as Cyd said before, you're absolutely not alone.
I like the John Lennon quote where in the end everything will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
That's right. That's right. Keep going.
It is true. It is so true.
I mean, I've had Cyd actually did a reading, and you can book in with Cyd for readings. Her website, again, if you're listening, is Cyd's Circle, SYDS.
No,
Circle.
CYDS.
Oh, sorry. I'm done again.
It is
because I'm
4:45 in the
Australian.
morning.
We think Sydney.
Yeah.
Australian to me.
You have a whole city named after you? That's awesome.
It's CYDS, Cyd's Circle. .com, and you can book in with her for readings. I can attest to just how incredible Cyd is, because my own staff at QBI Healing have booked in with Cyd and had readings with her. One of my staff, they're not my staff. They're people that I'm so privileged to work beside. I mean, they're just amazing. And one of the fine women that I work with is our operations manager, and she actually had a reading with Cyd. And Cyd mentioned to her about how in this life she had chosen a much easier life, a more restful life, a karmic pattern that was like a 2 or a 3, whereas the karmic pattern of my life would be an 11 or 12, 12 being like the highest, most colourful, extreme life. Mine would be an 11 or 12. The operations manager that handles my schedule has probably a karmic pattern of 2 or 3. She has this lovely life that she's chosen to have a bit of a holiday in this life. And
and watches you go through all your stuff.
Exactly. She manages my chaos, but she doesn't live it. And she does an amazing job with it. And even though I've known this about this particular character the whole time that I've known her and been able to work beside her, to have it confirmed from Cyd, I have to admit I had a little moment of jealousy.
Right? Me too. I'm like, gosh,
no.
wouldn't I like you to do that? That'd be fun.
Yeah. It would be so much fun, wouldn't it?
If we just didn't have a care in the world, man. La la la, this is fun, and well, we can do this too.
But it is in this life, and it's particularly for that inner nucleus of people that work beside me. At some stage, I will say to them that clearly in this life, I made the decision or the contract with them that I would be the front man for them, that I would step out and pioneer and take the blows and the circling sharks could come around me and all that sort of stuff so that they could do what they're here to do without so much trauma. And so, I'll keep going out and doing the hard yards so that they can do what they're here to do as well. And sure enough, people like that beautiful lady that I'm so gifted to have alongside me do an amazing job so that people can reach us and get the help that they need. The beauty of the work that Cyd and I and Monty and a lot of people, particularly the hosts on this show do, is we're very much just a conduit. We're very much the straw through which you will drink the milkshake. We transfer that information or that light or that healing, and it goes through us. It's not of us. And that's the task that we came here to do. So we've had,
Yeah.
now, Monty was meant to do a promo a little while ago.
A little? What do you mean I have to? One day you'll have to learn, Melissa. You'll have to take that big step into the unknown. And
The fine team at Revolution Radio must love Monty's promos because they won't give us one of their bumpers.
yes, that's the way we look at it. That's the way. But, you have been, we're near about 5 to 10 minutes to go, but I'll still do the promo now because I'll get it out of the way, yes. You're listening to Revolution Radio from slips.com, the number one talk radio station on the planet, which is 100% listener supported. I still maintain it's the longest crowdfunding project on the planet today. If you have enjoyed the last 2 hours, let's say 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com and donate what you can. The price of a coffee, it's only just one coffee, and you know how addictive that is, will help out the station. There's also merchandising, there's the archives, because there is 24 hours a day for 7 days a week on Studio A, and Studio B, I think, is just half of that. There's no way in hell you can listen to it all at once. But I've tried. So go to the archives. I think that's about it, really, because it's 5 o'clock in the morning here, all right? And my cat is trying to have a conversation with me about, why won't you let me out? For the third hour in a row, it's not time. Anyway, but yes, you are listening to Revolution Radio. This is Inspired Perspective, and I've been Monty Dean. I am Monty Dean, still.
You still are. Yeah, it's okay. You're still here.
Yeah, okay. Time Lord thing. Totally, yeah.
Revolution Radio is completely crowdfunded, which is amazing. It's very much the people's station. It's one of the reasons that Inspired Perspective is with Revolution Radio. It really is an extraordinary setup. It is the biggest online radio station by miles. The next one is miles behind us. And so if you are interested in listening to this show again, I would highly recommend signing up for the archives, which is something like $4.95 a month. It's not expensive.
I think it's $5.95 now, but still.
Sorry, it might have gone up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd highly recommend doing that. And you can download shows from here, from Inspired Perspective, not just this fabulous one with Cyd, but all of the shows that we've had with all of our amazing guests. We also do set it up as a podcast, but it's at least 10 days after the show. So if you want to grab hold of it, I highly recommend, signing up for the archives and actually tuning into it there.
If I may interject as well, just for $5.95 a month, you can listen to 4 episodes of Inspired Perspective, as well as there's 90 hosts on the station. So you get all that for free as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It is actually, I don't know, I say it in every show, but we very deliberately chose to operate this show through Revolution Radio because of the integrity behind it. And so, and very much we need to come from a place of integrity first. Just where we live. Beautiful Cyd. I'm going to sort of wrap up with you a little bit here. Again, I'm going to tell you to go to Cyd's website. You can book in with her for a reading. I have, as I mentioned, even my own staff that were listening to the show, the first time Cyd was on, of their own volition, just all of them jumped on and decided to have readings, and she can do that. You do them via Skype and various forms, don't you? You don't have to be in the States or in the vicinity of where Cyd is.
I actually had one last week. So
yeah,
Monty
I have,
did.
Clients. Yeah, we talked to Monty. I don't know what the heck we said because I don't remember all of it, but I do remember the chat.
Oh, I was awesome, and anyway, back to you.
Thank you. So I have clients all over the world. People think that I need to be in person with them, and that is not true. All the information that I give is accurate. So you don't have to be in front of me because I'm talking with spirit anyway. I'm not looking at you. I'm communicating with spirit. So I do Skype. I do obviously over the phone. We can do video. If people really want to look at me while I'm working, I'm not going to be looking at you. But if you really want to see me, you can do that. Of course, in person. I'm in Utah right now. I travel all around the world. And you can go to my website and figure out if I'm going to be in your local town or anything. Sometimes I'm doing radio shows, speaking engagements. Sometimes it's interesting. One of the fun things that I've enjoyed lately is people want to have me at their own personal parties. They want to, host Cyd and have a group of friends and people over. And so you get to intermingle with me and work with me during that evening. And then I usually spend about 2 days afterwards so people can have full hour sessions and half hour sessions. So it's just a fun thing to, have me in your home and meeting with your friends and gathering with them and stuff. It's always just a wonderful experience for me and for them as well. You can get meditation tapes, again, we have,
I'm actually going to,
I have guided ones. Yeah.
I'm going to be over in the States in October. I'll be over in the United States teaching over there. And so we might have a Cyd party.
Heck yeah.
And bring Cyd in. And so,
let's do.
On a large scale at our conference.
It's so much fun. Yeah, it's so much fun. I love meeting with people. Yeah.
We'll definitely have a chat about bringing Cyd over and we will probably, while we're over there, as we will be doing, I'll be in London in September, and I will be in the States in October, and the plan is that we're actually going to do Inspired Perspective as a live event. You'll be able to come along, meet all of the hosts, and actually see us running the show as a live event, and so you'll be able to come along to that in London and in the States as well. We'll give dates and join us there live too. So we'll be doing all of that as well. But yeah, I'd love for you to come and catch up and particularly at the healing.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd love to be a part of it. The work that you do is so magnificent, and you have tapped into my body, and I can feel the energy that you hold and you possess, and that divine light that you carry with you. I'm a pranic healer. So I got taught by Master Stephen Coe, C.O. is his last name. Yeah, he's the master right now of pranic healing. He's amazing. So I learned that way, and of course I have, just God's essence that comes through my body too. So when I touch people or I'm, next to them in an elevator or something like that, their whole being shifts, their body vibration shifts, so that if they are ill or they're having a hard time with something, that their body actually aligns to the universal source. So it can be really powerful just having me around too. So I'd love to. It would be an honor.
Look, Cyd, thank you so much. Thank you so much again for joining us today and for sharing with people. It was just awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a blessing and an honor to be with you guys today and to help everybody. Again, if anybody needs my help out there, that's the world that I am in, helping, assist you on your path. Anything you need, feel free to call me, email me. CydCircle.com has all my information on it.
Listening to Revolution Radio.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another?
Extra big-ass fries.
I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please come back when you can afford to make a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
trouble.
trouble.
Come on. My kids are starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer.